Hi guys, Milne here, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to my channel. On this tutorial we're going to be covering a old base that I done quite a while ago, and basically someone's asked me if I could do a tutorial on it, but not just the tutorial. They would like to see my side of decorating too and how I make my camps nice and scrappy. So on this build we're firstly going to be covering the main part of the tutorial, and then for the second half of the video we're going to be covering how I make things scrappy basically. So if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please, I'd really appreciate the support if you could like and subscribe, and let's get into this. Okay, so I chose to build this over here on the corner of this road by George's Junktown and the lighthouse. And to start off we're going to use a 2x3 foundation, and I've just set a little marker foundation over there because I'm going to need to move all these foundations about, which you're about to see right now. So we're going to start off by getting rid of these two, just chuck them out of the way for now, and then we're going to take this and we need to move all of these foundations over by half a catwalk. Right, so basically the reason we've done this is because we want to build like a centre part of our roof. We don't want just a bog standard sort of run-of-the-mill triangle roof. We want to have a little bit of detail to it. So I've started off with catwalks because that's what I like to use to flip my walls round, and I always work on the outside wall first, and I've gone up a whole wall, half a wall, and then we're going to use the brick triangles because when they're burnt we'll be able to take away all those walls underneath and then work on the reverse side of it. Right, so next we're going to snap a roof to that and flatten it because this is going to be one of our burning platforms. Okay, so once that's burnt, that's broken all the ties to the walls underneath, we can remove the two half walls and stick them catwalks out the back for when we do the back walls. And then we want to take those lower doors and just flip them round to work on the reverse side of the front. As you can see, it's nice and simple. I've done exactly the same as what I've done a minute ago, and we're going to break those brick triangles and then totally remove all these temporary walls and work on the back. Now the front's done, we're going to follow exactly the same steps on the back. Right, so that's the back and the front done. We're going to get rid of all our temporary walls and use our marker foundation to place our foundations back. Now, as I said, I like to do the outside wall first, so I'm going to use catwalks and I'm just going to run all the way around these walls. Now, for instance, if you don't have catwalks, I'm going to show you two ways now on how you can flip walls without using catwalks. You can start off by either using a foundation, in which you can just place a doorway and remove the foundation altogether, or if the room is too tight to put a foundation in, you could start off with placing a doorway, place a door inside of that, change the doorway to a solid wall. You could then delete the doorway and use the door to flip the walls round as shown here. I must apologise, my cat is in the same room as me and he's extremely noisy, so you can probably hear him meowing every now and then. Now I'm going to carry on going around all of the rest of the foundations, placing in all our walls, and then we're going to go around the inside and double them all up. Right, next we need to double up some half walls. So first off, I'm going to be placing the outside walls, and then we're going to put a temporary roof in for a burning platform, and then we're going to burn all of those so then we can double them all up. Right, so now they're all burnt, you can simply go around and place them all on the inside as well. Right, so we're going to need to burn the 2 front corners like that as shown, and then all 3 of the back ones, so when we put the upper walls in later on they don't get in the way, which you'll see in a minute. Right, so next we're going to need to move the foundations about again. Now, we couldn't have done this step last time when we had the foundations like this, because we needed to get all of those half walls around in order to do this part next. So we're going to step it all over by half again, bring all those foundations in. Right, so we're going to place a temporary doorway in and then place half wall on top. Now, this is to create our upstairs room. We have to do it this way because the way I've got the roofs, that basically if you've done it the same width as the downstairs, by the time you got upstairs you'll be walking into roofs and you basically wouldn't be able to access anywhere. So you'll see exactly what I mean when I build all the roofs and everything. I might be speaking gobbledygook at the moment, but yeah, you'll soon understand what I'm saying. Right, as you can see, while I've been rambling, I've had to break these 2 half walls in order to remove the tie between them and the doorways below. Now that's burnt, we can remove that temporary roof and place all the foundations back. Also, now that we've got those upper walls in, you can see why we had to burn those certain pieces. Right, next we're going to take out these 2 middle doorways because this will be access to the extension. Now we're going to work on the centre part of the roof. So I've repaired one of those brick triangles and we're going to simply place on some roofs either side and then just burn them. Next we're going to work on the main roof, so I've repaired these 2 half walls, placed in some brick triangles, and then you can go ahead and place on the rest of the roof. Next we need to flatten down parts of these roofs just so we can get the burner in to break those triangles. Right, once that's broken, you can repair them half walls and then place in some new triangles. Lastly, we can change that roof back into a slopey boy and then repeat the process on the other side. Right, now it's time to work on the extension. So we're going to place down some foundations. I'm going to stick one to the side there because I want to step this whole extension over by a quarter catwalk. Now we're going to place down 2 foundations off that catwalk, and as you can see, it covers that gap in the walls nicely. And you can remove all that stuff, and then we're going to go round and double wall all of this part. Make sure you remember to put down brick triangles first, so when we burn them we can double them up. Now that's done, you can get rid of all the temporary roof and then placing the roofs over the extension. Right, and that's the end of this part of the tutorial. Now we can go ahead and repair it all, and you should be left with something looking pretty similar to this. Right, now heading on inside, this will be the upstairs of the build. You can see why I put those half walls in now. And these little areas on either side are going to be like a void, so you can hide generators in there to power the camp. I'm going to place a stair gantry in there a bit later on. You've got plenty of room to decorate and stuff, and we've hardly used any budget. Right, now I'm going to disappear and change all the walls up. As you can see, I like to go scrappy, so all I do is just blend loads of different textures of walls in, just mess about, trial and error, you know, see what sort of fits you. Now I've left these 2 bits plain at the moment, and I'm going to take them out. This next step is only if you have the outhouse. If you don't have the outhouse, just change those walls over, and this was the outhouse that I was on about. I'm going to put this into the side of my build. If you do have this, I'm going to show you a quick little step on how to fit this. Now you're going to want to start off by just placing this as close to the foundations as possible. Then I'm going to take a doorway. Now I'm not going to snap this doorway in, I'm just going to hover it over, because obviously I need to micro adjust and line up where that outhouse is so that it fits in with the doorway. When you're happy with roughly where it is, you're going to want to remove this foundation. Now we're going to take the outhouse and we're going to drag that in ever so slightly, because at the end of the day I want there to be no gaps between the outhouse and the side of the building. Right, so now because the outhouse is in too far, as you can see, you won't be able to place the foundation back down, but it's a quick, easy fix. All we need to do is burn that outhouse and then the foundations will clip straight back in. And as promised, the foundation drops straight back. Next, we're going to want to check our alignment with our doorways, and if you're pretty much happy with that, which I am, I'm then going to snap a catwalk down and place my walls back in. Right, so now that we've got that wall in, it's time to remove the catwalk. Be ever so careful, make sure you pick up the catwalk, not the outhouse, because if you delete the outhouse then you're going to have to realign this all again. Once that's done, we can place our final wall in. Right, now I'm just going to repair this outhouse just to check to make sure it's all nice and snug and pretty much where I wanted it, which it is. And then next we need to fit a doorway to this, so we're going to have to burn the outhouse again so that we can clip a door on. Right, as you can see, the doorway snaps straight in, lovely, and I'm just going to quickly check to make sure that that doesn't open into the outhouse, which it don't. So now you can repair everything and change that wall over to its final texture. Right, like I said earlier, we're going to be using the stair gantry in this build, but please, I cannot stress this point enough. Do not place the stair gantry yet, because if you place this thing now, then it's going to lock to all of the walls and everything around it. You're going to end up having to take half the build down just to remove it. So please don't place it. We just want to hover it over the spot just to keep checking. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look through my inventory and I'm just going to throw down a load of junk, because the key thing on a scrappy build is literally just placing everything anywhere. Make sure that where the legs of the gantry are sitting, that you leave a little bit of gap just to stop any intersecting. Most things will not go under the gantry, so this is why we're doing this process now. As long as you burn the stuff, the stairs will come straight back over the top and it should be okay. You will be able to place a few things underneath the gantry, not a problem, but for the majority of it you're going to have to burn like I'm doing here. So stack it up, burn it. You might need to take the old flamer outside because some of the stash boxes are too low, and obviously you need to get that a little bit lower to burn them. Not a problem, just burn through the walls at the minute. Don't bother repairing anything yet because we're going to be burning a lot of stuff. Once it's all burnt, like as you can see, then we're going to want to check our stair gantry, just make sure that it all stays green or blue if you're colourblind like me. I think it's green, but never mind. Just make sure that it places back down. Right, in between chucking all things down, I just want to talk to you a little bit about these display cases. Now, I like to mix up my display cases and change them up rather than just the standard 4 things that you can put in them. I've got a merging video in which I go over all sorts of little tricks that you can do with display cases, which I will link in the description for you, and I'll also link in the description the original builds that inspired this tutorial. So when you get a minute, do us a favour and please just check those out. As you can see, I've placed in a few random bits at first because all I want is that fuel tank at the end. So I'm going to take out those Nuka-Cola bottles because they're not needed, and what I want to do is I want to place in one of these bookcases, because in the end these bookcases will sit perfectly flat with the bottom of the display case. Next I'm going to place this Nuka-Cola display rack on top of the bookcase. I only want to use the top row of bottles though, so we're going to need to merge that down. Now I'm going to call upon the buddy system. I originally learnt this little trick from Mr. Church, who I will link in the description. He does some awesome camp tutorials and merge videos himself, which I urge you to go and check out. It's just a pressure plate with a mannequin on top. You can pick up these pressure plates, they come under the power connection plans. You can get them from most train stations pretty much all over the map. Once you place it on top of the pressure plate, you just keep picking it up and pushing it down. As you see, it just merged it down. Right, now I'm just going to drag the bookcase and place it just in front of that display case, because I want to sort of know where that fuel can is. So I placed a few things on, making sure that I've left enough room for where the fuel can is, because when you do break the display case, that fuel can is going to disappear and you're not going to see where it is. So when placing this bookcase down, be really careful that you obviously don't place it in the wrong place, because once you place it, it's really hard to pick it up again. So sort of mentally remember where that fuel can was and just roughly get it in place. Once you're totally happy with it, then place it, and let's just hope that it looks good at the end. Right, just remember, burn everything, check to make sure it still fits, which it does, and then carry on. I'm just checking the stair gantry, and as you can see, a couple of the items look like they're going to be pushing into it, which we don't really want. So it's all trial and error at the minute, so we just need to move a few bits out of the way, keep checking different things. This is why we always check the stair gantry as we're going along, because once we place it, you remember, we're never going to be able to get it out again. Right, I don't think I'm ever going to be happy, but I think I'm at the point where I'm going to be happy, so no turning back now because we've placed it. So far, it don't look too bad. A couple of the items are sticking in, but what we need to do is we need to head outside, go and repair it, and take a look at see what we've got. This is the moment of truth. We're never getting these stairs out again, so let's just have a quick look round. Oh, for God's sake, please remember to turn the flamer off, which I clearly didn't. So let's just quickly get rid of this and repair everything again. Okay, take two. Let's go and have a look and see what we've got. So far it's all looking good. A couple of the items not totally happy with, so we're going to need to do a few little adjustments, but other than that everything looks pretty good so far. Right, this is one of the things that I was on about. As you can see, you don't really notice it when it's all burnt because you don't see it. Now luckily I was able to move this and still place it under the stairs, which is a rare thing, because usually you get all sorts of intersecting problems when you try and place under these stairs. That's why we go ahead and we burn everything as we go. But like I said at the beginning, sometimes it'll let you place things, sometimes it won't. I place in a little red stash box, which is not a problem under there, but in a minute I'm going to go and try and place a different stash box up on top of the ammo storage box, whatever you call it, and it won't let me because of intersecting problems. So with my camps, I don't like to see things on their own. Everything has to be merged into something else. This is why I always end up running out of budget well too early in my builds, but like I said, don't let anything be normal, because that's what makes your camp stand out from others. You're not just randomly placing things, we're blending things, we're pushing it together, we're making it different. Right, and this is what I was saying earlier, you just can't get support on it because it's too close to the top of the gantry. Right, next I'm just going to add a little bit of extra detail to that display case. Now these shelves, they will for some reason go in that display case when it's burnt. Great for using fish tanks and things like that. Now you can hang these icicle lights off the shelf. Let's just make sure that they're nice and straight, because I've put them on crooked as anything. Right, next you're going to want to take the old flamer and we're going to want to just burn that display case. Obviously it's going to be a little bit tight trying to squeeze yourself in here now because everything's in the way. Like that, that's burnt. We can just bring it in and it will sit in the top of this display case nicely. For some reason I struggled like anything because it just didn't want to get support, which was strange because I've done this sort of thing thousands of times. It was only later that I realised that little bookcase display case thing next to it was the thing that was stopping it from getting support. So in a minute let's burn that and then we'll be able to place it in. And there you have it. So let's go and repair it all and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm happy with all of that and now it's time to just do a few finishing touches. Right, now lastly for this area I'm just going to snap a couple of little hanging baskets on the side of these stairs. Right, now I'm going to jump forward to the other side of the room, which I haven't shown me decorating. I've just randomly placed a few bits out, stacked up a few stash boxes, pretty much like what we've done the other side. We've got some crafting areas, just filled in some of the gaps, keeping with that scrappy sort of feel. And then we've got a little seating area over here. Once again, I've just burnt items and pushed them in as tight to each other as possible, and it's just a question of pretty much merging everything you place down. In this corner over here I've got the world's most annoying ally and then just a few other little bits out. Right, now let's start on the kitchen. Now when I originally done this build it was quite a basic kitchen because we didn't really have much to play with back then, and all I've done is pretty much copy that sort of general idea of the kitchen, but I've just added a few extra little bits now because we've got so much more stuff to play with nowadays. Right, so as you can see I've started off with these 3 cabinets, 2 large ones, 1 small one, and I'm just roughly placing them down at the moment, and I'm just going to chuck a few things on top just to figure out roughly how I want the kitchen to look at the end of it. Sometimes I regret putting allies in my camp because they're very pushy. Right, now I've got it in my head pretty much how I want things to look. Let's start merging some stuff down. So I've took this sink and I'm going to merge this down into this cabinet first. Now I'm going to use these wooden tops for the sort of worktops on my kitchen. So obviously the 2 big ones, they're a slightly different colour to the small one, but blame Bethesda for that because everything seems to be a different shade, but it just is what it is. Okay, so when you're merging that sink down, just remember that you've got to leave the thickness of the wooden table as well. So don't merge it down fully with the whatever it's called, the cabinet. Make sure you leave a little gap. So as you can see, when I merge the cabinet down into the wooden table, I've allowed for that gap and it all looks kind of cool. Right, once you're happy with that, you can just chuck that back into the kitchen and let's work on the next bit. Right, so now we've got those both merged in, I'm going to place these parts in first. Now I'm going to push it all nice tight into the kitchen, and when you burn the stash box cabinet, the cooker will disappear because them two are merged together, and when you burn the table, the cabinet will disappear because them two are merged together, and that will allow us to then push the sink unit up into place.
When Maria Mitchell discovered her cult,
Right, next we're going to repair this just to quickly check to see how it looks. Now, I know the wooden tops, they are slightly different colours, but it doesn't look so bad, I suppose. Right, now working on the last part of the kitchen, I'm going to push in this butcher's table because I like to sink this right down and it leaves sort of like a chopping board.
when studying the extraterrestrial,
For a moment there, I thought someone done me a favour and killed my ally, but they're just wearing the same outfits.
it means I'll always be employed.
Right, so now we just need to burn that back table again and then push our new table up into it. But first, as you can see, I didn't place that in very straight, so just give me a minute to quickly line this up. Right, then I've just got a few more things that I just need to merge down, and then we can go ahead and finish up the kitchen. Right, now I'm just going to go into the future and place down some decorations. There we go. So as you can see, I've just got a couple of little bits and bobs out, just make it a bit more like a kitchen. Now I've gone ahead and finished off the decoration away from the video because it was just going to run on forever and I could be here for hours rattling on about rubbish. I'm just going to run through a few little bits while we take a quick look around. Right, now I've pretty much explained a lot of all of this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's just a question of placing rubbish everywhere basically. Like I said at the beginning, burn things, push things under it, like just junk it up. Literally go through your whole inventory and just find things that you like, things, just chuck them all down, stick them anywhere. It's so easy doing a scrappy camp because it is literally just everything and anything placed down. Right, then back into our kitchen, it's just a question of placing bits down, any foodie things that you've got, like I've used a conduit there as a frying pan, anything you've got, just chuck it in to sort of keep in theme with the kitchen. And as we pan around here, we've got Miss Annoying standing there doing nothing. I've just chucked one of the picnic baskets on top of that freezer and merged it in. Use that happy birthday sign because, you know, I've never used that before. It's just a question of getting anything out. We've got our little area here. We've got a nice little workbench with a couple of crap under there. Some handsome young fella sitting there emerged with all of his crap around him. You know, just place everything everywhere. It's easy, and I've said it 1,000 times before. Right, as we move on upstairs, you can see what I mean about having those side walls in with the gantry, because where it sits, the stairs are nice and tight to that wall, and you've only got this little area up here within this part of the roof to play with. I've just literally chucked down a couple of display cases, filled in that corner with a load of crap, merged down a load of stuff onto the bookcase using the pressure plate. I've put the scrap box down into that stash box so it's pretty much hidden. I've used a chessboard to place a teddy on the bed, and it's just a question of just chucking everything everywhere. I've used a few more chessboards over here, placing out some spoilt meat and some mouldy food, a couple of new cola bottles. But yeah, like I've said the whole time, it's just random, putting stuff wherever you want to put it. You don't have to be too precise over everything. You just chuck everything everywhere. And as we head on back downstairs, we just have one more last little pan over. I think my original build, I placed down so much more stuff, but you've still got loads of budget left to go crazy. Outside here, I've just placed down a few little pieces. With that chair, I've merged it down onto that little bottle in the background just to sink it into the floor a little bit more. But yeah, that sort of brings us to the end of this tutorial. And there we have it. So I really hope that you have enjoyed the tutorial. I've done a little bit extra this time round with the whole decorating side of things, and I hope you like my style of camp building. To anyone new to the channel and you like what you see, maybe you learnt a few things, I'd really appreciate the little hit that sub and like button. It really helps the channel grow and continues me doing more things like this. And I guess that's it. So I will catch you on the next build. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you later.